All right, so first off, testing out the Able Carry Daily Carry Backpack. We're gonna see how this goes, but gotta actually go pick up from my post office box. We got a package in from Benchmade. And before you say it, yes, I understand everything going on with Benchmade, but apparently they've made some improvements to the Axis lock for the 25th anniversary edition, and I am curious to see what this thing is all about. But I guess we'll go there in a little bit of style. All right, so normally I would kind of crank it up a little bit more on this. This is the Mac Fox. I forget exactly which model this is. I got my e-bike. I'm a big fan of being able to ride my e-bike, especially on days like this where the temperature's not as bad, and just kind of chill out and all that good stuff. But because I need to get a new helmet, my locks have gotten bigger, and my old helmet just doesn't really make the cut anymore. So I'm gonna keep this thing no faster than 11 miles an hour, which is like low-key boring on an electric bike. Like electric bikes, this one specifically can go 25 miles an hour. My other e-bike can go 28 miles an hour. But I would hate to take a spill or a crash at 28 miles an hour while not wearing a helmet. As cool as I think that I am, I'm the breadwinner for my house. I'm the male of the house, the man of the house. I've been very curious about this Benchmade Axis lock revamp. Apparently they've created the ramp on the actual pull down to access the crossbar lock itself. That actual is supposed to be a little bit better of a ramp on the knife, and they made the Omega springs built into the liner locks. I'm curious about that. Does that mean that for every access lock knife, they all have to have liners? Or, do they all have to have a liner inside? I'm curious about that, because like the bug out doesn't have liners, but it's an Axis lock. And so will they now have the Benchmade bug out with liners? These are all questions that I have. But this bag that I'm testing out feels okay-ish. I don't know if I'll do a full review on this. Able Carry did send this bag out to me for free. Give you a little bit of full disclosure about that. And the bag itself is very slippery. I know that's a weird thing to say. It's made of X-Pack, and a lot of companies that make X-Pack backpacks sometimes won't do X-Pack where your actual back touches the bag itself and where your shoulders touch the bag. So this bag itself, I think it's X-Pack all around. Sometimes where your shoulders touch, they may do like a 200D Cordura or some type of like mesh webbing, moisture wicking webbing. They might do the same thing on the back area where it touches as well. I don't think they did that. I'm not an expert on fabric materials when it comes to these bags and stuff like that, but I do feel like they carried over the X-Pack everywhere, which makes for a slippery ass bag. I will tell you that. I'm not very sweaty yet. I will get up to that point where I'm sweating like Kunta Kinte, but until that point, I could imagine this bag is super sweaty. I don't think this would be very conducive for rucking. Right now, I mainly ruck the GoRuck GR2 Dyneema, which is made of Dyneema fabric, but the parts that actually touch your shoulders and your back are made of 200D Cordura, so that makes for a more comfortable wear, and I don't have the Dyneema touching my back, which reduces the amount of sweat. Type of stuff matters to me. Before a daily backpack, taking this to coffee shops, riding on your bike, maybe going on light walks, taking this to a picnic or something like that, I see why so many people like the Able Carry. There's some things about it I don't know if I 100% like. I think it's a little bit too organized. It's kind of the same complaint I have about the GoRuck GR2 Dyneema. Almost too much organization where I feel almost overwhelmed. I will admit, this is a relatively big package for one knife. But if you guys ever want to send me stickers, my address is down below. It's right here. There you go. So you ever want to send stickers, feel free to send them my way. Yeah, that's good. We got the electric limeade by Ghost going on. Good stuff. Let's put it back here. All right, so I've done the unboxing. The Benchmade 710 reissue. Now, what do I think about this? This is going to be an initial thoughts video, not a full review, because I literally have had it for about 20, 30 minutes. So I just really want to talk about what this could mean for Benchmade moving forward. Them trying to do something new with their Axis lock, the lock that they came up with years ago. Matter of fact, 25 years ago, the 710 was the first knife that Benchmade did that had the Axis lock inside of it. So they're pretty proud to come back with a new version of this historic knife. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. This thing is going to cost, let me just Google it real quick. Let me see. I actually don't know how much this thing is going to cost, and I want to be a first-time shock right along with you, because a couple of videos I've watched, they kind of skirted around the price. And let's see, Benchmade 710. I wonder what 710 stands for. So this is the 710 McHenry. This is McHenry and Williams knives. Oh, it's $450 on Blade HQ, $405 for, I guess, distributors or retailers. If you want the one that's dark gray, what's the difference? Why is this one $600? They both seem to have the same blade. This one, oh no, this one CPM Magna Cut. That's why. All right, so that's pretty pricey. $450, $405. Listen, I think Benchmade, without them like disclosing their strategy, I think that they have gone in two different strategies when it comes to their knives. They have the 80% knives and they have the 20% knives. The 80% knives are the knives that are sub $200. Sometimes you can get them on a deal. And they are the knives that have been out for years. They use the Axis lock. If you get them, you're going to feel really good about it. You know, they're your Benchmade mini griptilians, your griptilians. They're made of polymer handers or grivery or whatever. And, you might get them on a resale, but you might get them directly new. You're spending $160 or whatever. You're getting S30V. You feel pretty good about that. Those are the 80% knives. So accessible by 80% of people that want a knife. Somebody wants to buy their husband a knife, something like that. Then they have the 20% knives. This is a 20% knife at over $400 MSRP, $405 from distributors. Only 20% of people that are really interested are going to be buying a knife like this. I just pulled these numbers out the air. Comment down below if you think I'm completely wrong. The butterfly tax is real, and I think they're owning it. And sometimes when you just own that shit, you own that shit. But I want to compare this here in a second to some other knives that have super steel, the S90V. I consider S90V super steel and Magna Cut to be super steel, and other knives that I have that are made with aluminum scales. So first off, I guess the cat out the bag is that this is an aluminum scaled knife. It does have this like machining. I guess it's a CNC machining. These probably all are the same off the factory floor. I would imagine you're not going to get one that's grossly different from the other one. But this one is CNC machine. It does have a pretty unique design. I will give them that for this. It almost reminds me of the type of effort in the design they did for the aluminum scaled bug out. Actually kind of like the design of, first impressions, I like the design on the bug out more, but that's first impressions, okay? The bug out aluminum scale kind of reminds me of the Sun, okay? That's the Sun. So we have the recurve blade, which I think is iconic for the 710. I had never heard of the 710 until a few years ago. Someone was unboxing a gold class 710, and I was like, what the F is that? And why does it cost so much? And what is gold class? These are things I had never heard of. You can see the McHenry Williams kind of like on there. You see the S90V on the blade still as well. So you kind of got both of those features on there. So this thing is recurved, which I am so trash at sharpening recurved knives. So the Life Sharp warranty that comes in the box, comes with the Benchmade knife, is something I would utilize for this, because I would hate to jack up the blade shape, hate to jack up the sharpening process. I wouldn't want to jack any of that up. It does feel pretty heavy. I think because of the steel liners, I guess they're steel, it does have liners in here. It does give it a little bit more weight. And this has to have liners because what they've done with the spring, the Omega springs in these new Axis lock is why they wanted this to be the reintroduced version for the Axis lock. They've now incorporated the Omega springs into the liners, and the Omegas are thicker. So a lot of complaints of broken Omega springs, those may go away. They said that they have actuated these knives 1,000,000 times to test out the Omega springs, and it's held up quite well. I mean, 1,000,000 times, that sounds like about a month of fidgeting for some of you peasants out there, not me specifically. So I guess if you're a fidgeter, you may not have to worry about that. They did do a little ramp up here on the actual pull down for how the access to whip it out, and it makes it a little bit easier to whip it out, but it also makes it a little bit, just like feels a little bit better versus the OG design. It feels a little bit better for accessing that. I don't know if you can see that ramping. I'll try to throw some B-roll in there of the ramping itself. You can feel the difference with the ramp when you're trying to access that. The pivot's still the T10. It does have a very nice pocket clip, very big, deep. I don't know what the pocket clip is made of, but it's fat, it's big. And I think you would need a pocket clip that big. This is a 4-inch blade. I don't have too many 4-inch bladed folding pocket knives. Probably my Benchmade Adamas, maybe I used to have the Benchmade Crooked River, which was 4 inches, and kind of got rid of that. Me and recurve knives, I don't really find a lot of utility out of them, whether I'm doing like multiple slicing for hunting. I just never could really make recurve fit into my life. Let me know what's the best use case for a recurve knife. Find a use. I prefer a good draw point or a Warney or a Tanto. It's kind of like the way I like to lean, but it is a very good looking knife. It does have the flat earth coating on the blade, so the Cerakote finish coating on the blade itself. That's going to get beat up with scratches and stuff. I don't know if this is the type of knife you hard use and you tear up the actual finishing coatings, aluminum. This is an anodized aluminum, so it's going to be less resistant to scratching. Like a lot of times, aluminum will scratch very easily. So I guess that's a good thing for them. It's similar to some of the coating I have on my Benchmade, or excuse me, my tactile knife Chupacabra. That has an anodized aluminum, and it's still looking fantastic as the day that I got it. So having a really good, anodized on there does help a lot. Here's a drop bear by Kaiser with the aluminum scales. This is also anodized. Looks really good, but you can see the scratches. See underneath the pocket clip? See how the scratches on there? If you don't have that a good anodization process. Drop bear still fantastic. This one is significantly cheaper, but the steel 154 cm is not the super steel. So of course, if you're spending $118, $119 on this, sometimes you can get it on sale for $109. Then it makes sense that you're gonna have to sharpen it a little bit more. So if I get the Benchmade bug out in the aluminum version, you get the M390. I don't know where that ranks in steels. I'm not sure. I know I don't have to ever sharpen it very often. This normally runs about $270. I think I got it on base for $200, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even $180. Base website prices are fantastic. But you know that it is a significant difference. Of course, just starting with the blade length, way shorter when it comes to that one. So my first impressions is I don't know how much better this actual lock is going to hold up in comparison to my other Omega springs. I have a lot of Benchmade knives. I have broken an Omega spring on a Benchmade knife twice. One of them was one of my cigar cutter, which has Omega springs. I broke one of those. That was just me being a freaking moron. And one of my Benchmade bug outs. Another thing I'm curious about is because the Omega springs are incorporated into the liners, how are they going to incorporate this new Axis lock into Benchmade knives that don't have liner locks, they don't have liners in them? So I don't know how they're going to do that. I guess we'll just have to wait to see. So what are we going to see? Version 2 of the 7-year-old Benchmade bug out? We're going to see that as being the next version to show how they're going to incorporate those new Omega springs. We'll have to see about that. Let's talk about the price once again. So $405 from your authorized resellers. That's a big price to pay for something like that. You got something like this from the tactile Chupacabra, and this one is going to cost you $249. And now this one's starting to look more attractive. I remember I did my review on this, and a lot of people were kind of poo-pooing it a little bit. And that sheep foot is looking a little bit more attractive. The Magna cut on this is starting to look a little bit more attractive. And so still getting the anodized aluminum. You're getting the super lock, which is a completely different and unique lock for to use on a knife. I actually really big fan of the Super Lock. I think it's just a good talking point. It's bold when a company goes for it. You're still getting the liners. It's just a really great knife. $249. So that's something to think about. And then if you even stay within the, now this is just me talking about aluminum scaled knives. I'm not talking about the steels themselves. I'm just saying, if for some reason what attracts you the most is the aluminum on this, that's why I'm showing you these knives. You got the Benchmade bailout, which I think is fantastic still to this day, especially if you can get this for less than $200. I got mine for $170. The MSRP on this is disgusting, but at $170 with this M4 blade steel, the blade shape, especially for slicing and cutting, I think it's great. This one is not as beefy in length, but this feels like a better suited everyday carry. Like, I don't care if I beat up my bailout. I don't. And as much as I like the Chupacabra, I do consciously think about, what if the Super Lock jacks up and I don't know how to fix those, and I don't even, I don't even feel comfortable taking them apart. And I would have to go to Tactile's website. I don't know what their warranty is. And I do know that they don't have like a Life Sharp warranty. They do warranty the craftsmanship and workmanship, but you can't send the knife in for a sharpening. If you stay within the family, if you want to get the Benchmade bug out, if you're used to that, then you can get this with the aluminum scales. I think this is a great knife. This being M390. I think it looks really good. The Cerakoting on it is great. I love the thumb stud with the offset color of the red. So I think this is a really great knife as well. This one does cost, once again, over the $200 mark. I don't remember what I paid on this. I bought it on base, but this is another knife you have to think about. If you're just really interested in the aluminum scales, then that's something else to consider. And then finally, if you just really want something that's aluminum, there's a lot of other ones out there. I know We has knives. The We Banter just came out with a version that's aluminum. There's plenty of them, right? But then we got Kaiser in their drop bear aluminum. This is great. It has liners. It feels really good. I will say that I think they call it the clutch lock. The clutch lock is significantly, even to this day, it feels just better than the Axis lock of Benchmade. And I don't know what's so great about it. You do have to sharpen this more often, and it's kind of not as big of a talking piece. I mean, any of these knives on the table is a different type of talking piece versus what you're going to get with the drop bear. That's just, kind of, quite frankly, kind of how that's going to be. So where does this mean when it comes to the 710? My first impressions feels like in the class that is playing in, I think because of the designers and because of the craftsmanship and all the other type of stuff, it's a big boy price. So my initial impressions are in the field that is playing in. I have other S90V Benchmades, whether it is the Mini Freak, I have the Benchmade Bug Out in the carbon fiber, which is S90V. Those still cost me less than $400. I think because of the designers, that's why you're paying this price. And the new Axis lock, that's why you're paying this price. It's expensive. It is. This knife is going to be for the 20%. So if you're the 20%, this might be something that you consider. Will I do a full review? Nah, I don't know. I don't really do full reviews on knives. I just wanted to kind of give you first impressions. Benchmade sent this out to me. I didn't owe them any content. They didn't know I was filming this. They're not doing this because I've been covering them suing Montana Knife Company. Just full disclosure of how I got this knife. I did an interview with Montana Knife Company. I contacted Benchmade to formally respond to the interviews that I did at Montana Knife Company. They said that they were considering doing the interview. They needed to talk to their press office, and they offered to send me the new knife. They weren't a pacification, because I outright asked them, like, hey, just because you're sending me this, you're not pacifying me. I still want an interview. So that was an understood thing. So just wanted to give you the backstory of how I got my hands on this, because if this was just something that was offered for me to buy on my own, I personally wouldn't have made the purchase, because it's just a lot of money. I would have felt more comfortable for a premium knife getting the Tactile Chupacabra, or just sticking with my trusty bailout. But comment down below, what do you think of the Benchmade 710 reissue for the new Axis lock for Benchmade? Smash or pass? S for smash, P for pass. Let me know why it is for you down below as well. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.